there was always that one Dying Light mode that I never really touched for more than a few minutes, even after all these years. The mode I'm talking about, as you saw from the title and thumbnail, is Be the Zombie. Fans have been asking for this mode to come back in another Dying Light game for years, and at this point, I don't know if it'll ever happen, so I wanted to revisit it and see how it holds up 10 years later. This was how my experience went. So, after putting in 5 hours the other day getting the full experience, what did I think of Be the Zombie? Well, folks, I get it now. It actually took a while to get going, unlock new abilities, get used to the Night Hunter movement, but once it clicked, I immediately died inside, finally knowing what I've been missing out on all these years. There really is a lot to love here, with the first thing I noticed being the intro, which is sort of a smartly disguised loading screen, which actually changes depending on if you're going into the slums, Old Town, or the following. And speaking of, the map that I found the most fun for the mode was Old Town. There's lots of different towers, ground level corridors, and generally more places to leap around. The slums, and especially the countryside, are much more flat, but they're all good in their own ways. Maybe it's just me, but I like to stalk my prey. It is honestly hilarious sneaking after other players then just appearing from the darkness, but then there also are a lot of moments where I just felt bad. Especially when it's just one guy. Some of them were clueless, like they just turned invasions on and completely forgot. Also, I could tell in many scenarios I was completely interrupting their progress in the story, which is the point, but you can tell some of them gave up and just accepted their fate. There were a few moments I even tried to befriend, offer them mercy, but that, ladies and gentlemen, is what I call good old manipulation. If I had to pick, I would say the countryside was my least favorite area, but at the same time, chasing cars down where they try to shoot you out of the sky was a blast. There were a few moments like that really brought back that spark that made me love this game so much to begin with, and I was really not expecting that. The one thing that irks me every session, and maybe it's just my modern day attention span, but the death loading screens annoy my soul. It's just a few seconds too long, and it doesn't help that it's a boring black screen, but I will admit, it makes me not want to die. Another thing I found a little awkward was how you can't do anything in the water, so it can lead to circumstances like this, where you're in a race to get out as quickly as you can. Honestly, I don't mind it. I thought it was kind of funny sometimes, but it would have been cool to turn into a fish as the Night Hunter, you know? Like be able to swim a little bit faster or do something crazy down there. In general, every person I joined was really nice and thankfully not a single hacker. But maybe I got lucky because I hear the modders and hackers in this game are pretty bad. Mechanically, it can feel a little janky leaping around sometimes, but it does the job. It gets a little annoying as the hunter when survivors deflect or pounce with their UV, and visually it can become a bit rough on the eyes with the Night Hunter vision. But with that said, and I'll be real with you, this is some of the most fun I've had in Dying Light genuinely in years. I'm not sure why I took this mode for granted. I just think PvP in this game never sounded interesting, but boy was I wrong. But if you're like me and you were holding on playing this after all these years, then go try it, seriously. So I'd say all the actual hunter abilities are fairly standard for what they actually are, but all visually look really damn cool. But I must say that Horde Spawner is pretty damn overpowered. So to elaborate on what this is, you can basically target a mini group of exploding zombies to spawn in, and sometimes they'll just spawn right next to the players too. 80% of the time, if they were hit with that, then they were screwed. I would say a lot of the animations are extremely fluid and snappy, especially coming from the human players. They pulled off a few moves that I didn't even know were possible in this game, but at the same time I didn't neglect this mode for 10 years, so I shouldn't be surprised. Also, I've seen no one really talk about this, but the Night Hunter tutorial section is a little different from the main game. Hear me out here, it kinda makes me think we're in an alternate reality separate from the one where Kyle Crane falls into Haran. Or he still does, but it just doesn't go the way we normally see it. You can even see the outer quarantine wall wraps around the city differently, and even some new buildings are put in place of random roads, so it's actually an interesting theory, at least I think so. Overall, I am so glad I finally gave this Be the Zombie mode a real chance, and I actually get the praise now, I really do. Hopefully one day, maybe even unofficially, it can receive a revival. But anyways, that's it from me for today, so thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, then do me the favor of liking this video, subscribe if you want, and stop by next time everyone. Adios!